All right. Be on our Facebook page.
All right, there we go. Hey everyone, sorry for the technical difficulties before. This is the Omega live stream. My name is Alex, and with me is Frank.
Yo, I'm Frank, and that's Alex. That dude sitting over there is
Yeah,
Alex.
other side. You're right. I could.
Yeah, right. We get to do that stuff now, so
Okay.
cool, cool split screen shenanigans.
All right. So I guess the first announcement that we have, I pushed it an announcement at 8:05, but we do have a new date for Desolation 3. So Facebook and Instagram went live with the announcement at 8:05. The new date for Desolation is August 21st to 23rd, 2020, obviously. So that's exciting.
Yeah, if been living under a rock or not really following us in our events, our event that was coming up in a few weeks, Desolation 3, the site venue is not allowing groups over 25 people. So we basically were forced to postpone our event, Desolation 3, to the date that just announced, which is going to be August 21st to 20. Everybody who already bought tickets, Alex sent an email out regarding them direct. Anybody else didn't get the ticket for a June event, don't worry about doing it because there is no June event. But that being said, we're definitely going to have warmer, nicer wonder for Desolation 3 at the end of August. So it should just be on the back end of tick season, right before everybody goes back to school and everything. So we're really hoping it's going to be a great event. And I'm sorry, Alex, I just didn't want to cut you off. I just didn't know if everybody knew that we actually had a cancel our event yet.
Yeah. So June 5th through 7th, no longer an option. Like you said, skirmish is only open to groups of 20 or less. We did send an email to all the ticket holders earlier today. I think at 6 p.m. they got the email. So essentially, if you can make the new date, great. We're also offering current ticket holders essentially a $50 coupon for one of their friends or family members to attend the event with them. So I think right now tickets are $130. So if you use the $50 coupon, it's an $80 ticket plus taxes and fees. I think it ends up being like 86.40, with all said and done. So save quite a bit of money that way. Obviously, if you can't make the new
Yeah,
date, there's an email address, an email that you received. You can reach out to us, and we can process a refund for you.
so yeah, so again, just to reiterate that, it's just if you can't make the new date, we'll definitely will take care of you. We understand the situation. If anybody that can attend the new date of August, again, the bonus that Alex came up with is that we're just going to give anyone you want to bring to the event that doesn't have a ticket already. So all your friends who are late to getting tickets, people that might have been thinking about trying our events but didn't really have all the cash or didn't know it's worth it. You will now be able to bring a plus one at a reduced fee. So that's just a little bit of a thank you and understanding for the fact that there's a lot of things that are out of a lot of people's control in this day and age, unfortunately. As we say time and time again, do more with less and adapt to the circumstances. And we're just trying to do that as much as a lot of the people are doing that out there right now. So again, we do apologize to everybody that has been waiting very enthusiastically and impatiently for Desolation 3 to come at the beginning of June. We wanted to give you more notice, but again, we wanted to make sure that we had all our ducks in a row and we had all the information we had at our disposal to make sure if we could go forward or not go forward with the event. And unfortunately, trying to that Alex and I could do everything possible to make the event happen. Unfortunately, the cards are dealt that we're not going to be able to do it, at the timeline we desired. But that being said, we're still doing the event. It's just going to, with the current, pandemic and restrictions and stipulations placed upon us, it's just unfortunately going to be postponed to the end of August.
Yeah, there's a couple people in the comments, and there's a couple other people reached out via email, and they were concerned that it was going to be hot that time of year. I mean, generally yes, but I think in the Poconos, specifically where skirmish sits, I think it's probably on average a good 10 degrees, maybe more colder than it would be in other parts of the state or neighboring states like New Jersey, New York. I was just
Yeah,
looked up the
yeah,
monthly weather averages for August in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, which is where Skirmish is. The average high is around 78, and the average low is 54. So still pretty chilly at night. 78 isn't too bad. With humidity, obviously, people will probably sweat a little bit, but we are under the canopy at Skirmish. The entire play area is
correct.
under canopy. And just for
That heat, that I was going to agree with you, Alex. The heat index is not going to be as bad, and honestly, it's probably going to be more better weather than we could have, during the
yeah,
June events, which is obviously if everyone didn't realize it like snowed a couple days ago, we probably weren't in for the best weather, which isn't a big thing. Adds ambiance to our events, and especially if you're prepared for it, which is another aspect of our events is just the preparation going into it, to make sure you can deal with the challenges in event and what nature tends to hand off to everybody.
and just a quick reference. So I'm looking at on Google right now. Average highs and lows for June, 75 and 52. Again, in August, it's 78 and 54. Except it typically rains 2 fewer days in August, so we have a better chance of sunny weather in August. So, I mean, weather's probably comparable. If you came to Desolation 3, I mean, we had great weather. It's, equal chance of getting the similar weather end of August in the Pocono Mountains. So people who are worried about heat casualties, not really something I'd be concerned about. Again, we're up at higher elevation. It's much cooler. Also, we're under the canopy, so you're never in direct sunlight when you're playing at Skirmish, at least in the play area.
And honestly, most airsoft events where heat casualties are a major factor is because the events are very intensive and burst, and people unfortunately don't know how to pace themselves or recognize their physical limitations. Our events are designed for you. You can play them at your own pace. You don't have to do something. You can do as much as you want, but you can always go back and chill out when you see fit. It's not going to make or break their game because you decide to take a midday rest. So I mean, overall, the concept of heat casualties is going to be diminished, unless you're just not, personally taking care of yourself. Our game, our event is not going to drive you and force you to that point. We're not going to win or lose as a team because you're not producing and putting out effort, which then usually pushes people past that point of no return because they don't recognize it. And Skirmish, again, not only did we already cover the fact that it's on the Allegheny Plateau and it's a lot colder, that's basically that ski country for Pennsylvania and the New York City area. So it's not only going to be colder, it's not only going to be more forested and better canopy. It's just that there's still a lot of water in the area. And as we talked about in the last live video, not only can, communities acquire, water filtrations in event and water from other sources, U.S. participants are allowed to bring, proper water filtering mechanisms in the form of a filter or boiling it. So that naturally sourced water, especially that Poconos area, it's very clean. You're not going to get any agriculture runoff or city runoff or industrial waste out in that area. So, always take advantage of the situation that you find yourself in, and the Skirmish paintball a venue definitely has numerous flowing creek water sources to draw from. So, worst case scenario, you start to feel too up to that cold creek, wet your shirt, wrap something around your neck to cool yourself down. I personally am looking forward to it. Having been to every event we ran, as Alex will probably agree with me, we tend to get colder than we expect. So if it ends up being warmer than we expect, you know what? I won't mind that because maybe I can actually get 3 hours of sleep without freezing during that process, which is about all Alex and I get per night if everything goes well. If it doesn't go well, then it's no sleep for the whole weekend. But it's all worth it at the end.
Absolutely, Skirmish is a place when I think of Skirmish, I never think about it being too hot. I think about it being too cold. Like that's the limiting factor at that place.
If anyone wasn't blessed to be at the original Desolation, there's definitely some stories that came out of that event. What man can persevere while trying to enjoy themselves against the elements. So that always go down as a very memorable, experience in my life, not just in airsoft or with Omega. And also just to piggyback and to remind everybody, our friends out in the Midwest, again, we're not forgetting about you folks. Again, because of the current situation with the pandemic, we did have to postpone Revenant 2 from what would have been a very nice weekend for the most part a couple weeks ago to September 25th, 27th. So same thing. We did extend a gratuity to anybody that did not want a refund and could make it to the postponed date of Revenant 2. So everybody that's going to that event should hopefully be able to get a little sweet deal to bring a friend out and or make one of their buddies who were a little bit delayed in buying a ticket, making their life a little bit easier. More the merrier. At the end of the day. If Alex and I were doing it for this money, we probably would have already have 8 other events planned for the summer. But we're doing this because we enjoy doing it. We want to put out the best events that we possibly can. If that means not holding events or announcing events or postponing events to make sure we can do it right and give our paying customers the best experience we possibly can, then we're willing to do that. And that's why I, asked Alex to help me do this. As he's a squared away guy that understands, what this is really about, and as well as all our staff and FPC members too. Which again, thank you folks as always because you guys are awesome. Because we not only know that our participants have been putting a lot of things on hold, taking time off of work, coming up with travel plans. We have a lot of staff and volunteer NPCs that put their lives on hold and make arrangements to come out and attend our events and help us out. And Alex and I will forever be grateful to everybody, our participants and our staff, for always taking the time and going out and getting themselves involved in activity and an event style that's really hard to put forth and we think is pretty cool. So, we'll hope to continue to do so. Time goes on. And again, Alex gets the big shout out for fancying up our technology here. So hopefully as we get a couple more of these kinks worked out, we'll finally be steamrolling and have a more frequency in doing our live videos. Not only just talking about announcements about our events, but going to maybe some more details about what our events encompass and certain things that that our events involve. Hopefully we'll give you guys a better understanding, better tidbits, and help. Hoping to make sure that whether it's your first event or your 5th event, that anytime you come out to our events, you're prepared and that you guys are going to have the best experience that we could possibly deliver. I know we've been trying to cut these videos short, and as always, I started to have a beer or two, and my mouth is running. Anything you want to add, Alex, or anything that's coming up that I don't get to see in comments or questions?
Couple things. Someone asked, I had this written down, and someone asked in the comments if we were doing a Perdition 2 this year. Highly unlikely. Just because last year Perdition was end of September. Right now that time slot is being taken up by Revenant 2, which the exact date is September 25th to 27th at D-Day in Wyandotte, Oklahoma. So the likelihood of a Perdition 2 happening in southern Pennsylvania or West Virginia is extremely unlikely, at least in the year 2020. Maybe 2021 will do something.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, we are not the only, airsoft event company or, concert promoter or event companies in general that are unfortunately being forced to postpone events to the fall. So, as I just stated, Alex and I's primary goal is to always deliver the best event that we can deliver, and it's not necessarily a means of need of economics or volume of events. So we would rather do less events to guarantee that we can offer a quality and memorable experience than start to spoon feed subpar events out there just for the sake of running an event or for a cash grab. Don't get me wrong. I believe in the capitalist society. We all got to make money. We got to pay bills. We got to pay insurance, venues. So we do have to, strive to turn a profit. Otherwise, we just can't deliver these events. But Alex and I, discussed at length, what our 2020 season is going to be, and unfortunately, it probably is going to come down to that. Our fall season is just going to end up being our spring season. And unfortunately, we're going to have to kind of cut our losses on that. But in essence, we're still delivering a Midwest and a Northeast experience. And that's where a lot of our friend base, our participant current base, and our own personal, backyard vicinity bases are. So we still look forward to doing that, and we'll see what 2021 is going to present. We definitely had a lot more venues and events planned for 2020, but again, we just don't want to, push things out if we can't deliver the best experience possible. Again, that being said, we're still working out some final details. If everything goes right, Survive Omega should be doing an offshoot event, hopefully sometime middle summer in a month or so. Time is, again, it's an issue because we don't even know if we're going to be able to do that. And again, it's something that's going to be a little bit different than what we're currently doing, and we've been trying to keep that under our hat. But right now, we're still kind of in ebb and flowing because we can't get the restrictions lifted or the venues to allow us to do what we want to do. That may also, unfortunately, have to be put off to 2021 as well. So, in essence, it seems that the Survive Omega 2020 season is not going to live up to the expectations that Alex and I put forth for ourselves going into this season. But that's only the amount of events that we're going to do. We still will always hold ourselves to the best quality events that we can do, and that we're still going to maintain with the 2 events that we are postponing and now doing in the fall. I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
No, that was actually the next thing for me to talk about were other plans, and for 2020 there really aren't any. So hopefully 2021 is is COVID free, and we can kind of get back to it and hit the ground running. But yeah, that's really it in terms of what we have planned for this year. Unless something happens, unless someone reaches out to us and is like, oh my God, please have an event on my property and we won't charge you, and they'd have to be a really sweet scenario for us to do a third event in 2020. It's gonna be difficult with but I really don't see this stuff lifting, at least in our area, like New York specifically, probably for another couple months. And even then, you have to consider what other people's comfort level is. So even if the government says we can open up, some people may still not be comfortable going out, doing things with people nearby. Then you also have to factor in a lot of people are out of jobs. I think we're at like 30 million unemployed in the United States at this point. And just as a quick point of reference, the 2008 financial collapse peak was 8 million. So we're literally approaching like Great Depression levels of unemployment, which means that the average American consumer's buying power is going to be significantly diminished. They might not have, $100 to $130 plus travel expenses, to get to one of our events or any airsoft event out there. So, while we would like to do as many events as possible, we also have to be considerate of other people and what they're able to do. So I think 2 events. I think doing Revenant 2 and Desolation 3 rescheduled is the right move for us and the right move for the people who support us. But I think in terms of doing things, being more aggressive, it's probably going to wait till 2021.
Correct. And ultimately, again, it's Alex has a day job. I have a day job. We don't have to do this. We want to do this. And we set forth as one of our primary goals when we started in organizing and making Survive Omega manifest is that we weren't going to cut corners, we weren't going to lower our standards, and we we're going to always put forth our best effort to provide the best experience for our customers. And we're just going to hold ourselves to that. I know everybody wants an event like this. I know that people are trying to knock off kind of what we're doing. We don't own the genre, we don't own all the ideas and rules, but we do know people are trying to mimic what we're doing, and it's not as easy as you think. And you got to have the right people involved, and you got to have the drive and the ability to literally not sleep for 3 4 days straight with minimal food to not just sustain yourself in the event, but to actually put this event on. So that being said, we got some time now before our next event, and a lot of people were ready and geared up. We saw the traffic increasing as we started getting closer to both of our events. So I don't want you folks to think that we are forgetting or putting, our events or your participation at our events on hold. Actually, it's quite the opposite, because Alex and I are basically heartbroken, that we can't do what we've been wanting to do for so long and starting to do decently well. We're probably going to be putting even more effort into the things that will revolve around our events. And again, that's our community, being interactive, seeing what everybody else are up to. And now's the time again, to reevaluate, your gear, your costuming, even yourself. I'm not going to say everybody needs to go out there and be a triathlon in physique and physical, aptitude. But, we have a couple months now. And if you're looking to get into airsoft or our events, as a form of physical activity to, especially in this day and age, we're all housebound, we're all being forced to be in couch potatoes. Pack up that backpack, go buy a 5 pound bag of rice, that maybe didn't, eat during the hoarding of 2020, along with some toilet paper, and go for a walk around the park. Build up that physique a bit, because test run your gear. Somebody posted that they set up their hammock in their backyard, getting ready for the event. They tarped it up. That's the stuff you want to do. Make sure that you are brushed up on your skills now and not when they're needed, whether that be in a real life situation or specifically with us at our events. Make sure you can build a tarp, go out camping when it's raining, see, is your clothing warm? Will you be able to keep your sleeping bag dry? Challenge yourself during these times, because all of what we put forth at our events are a very immersive, fun way to deal with skill sets and thinking ability, that you can translate and use in everyday real life. So again, so don't be lax. We're very sorry, folks, that that this has come. We're just as disappointed as everybody else, but we're very looking forward to our events. Whether unfortunately it was 3 weeks ago, or even if it's now 2.5 months or so from now. Um, so anything else come up in the feed, Alex, or anything else you wanted to add to that?
Um, I one more thing I wanted to add, and then we can. There's a couple questions. A quick update on the Survive Omega app. Um, you know, I guess long story short, we are no longer using the app, and a couple reasons for that. One, it was becoming cost prohibitive. We built the app not from scratch, but we were using a platform to kind of build and run the app. We were paying a pretty high monthly fee for the ability to do that, and the provider of that service essentially doubled their monthly fee, to the point where, I mean, I think we were paying more in app fees per month than we were for everything else, like QuickBooks, website, like every monthly subscription that we have to run this business. All of those added up were not as great as the application like service fee. So, the app was never intended to be a major part of our events. I mean, Perdition, we didn't even use it because of cell service, and that was another limiting factor for the app. Was that the places where we did use it, D-Day Park, we used it at Skirmish. It seemed like about 50% of people actually had reliable service to the point they were getting notifications, within seconds of us sending them out. Some people said that, one of their buddies got a notification. They weren't getting it till like 10 minutes later. So it was very much, service dependent. It was phone dependent. If you had an iPhone or an Android, the app was a little bit different in terms of how interfaced with the device. So it was, kind of unreliable. But again, it wasn't a big part of the event, but still some people were a little bit miffed that, some people were getting information before them. So, kind of taking that into account, we decided, that the app is just something that we can move on without. And we have, a pretty solid option for moving forward in terms of disseminating, not critical safety information, because that's typically reserved for 22, and we communicate that to staff members, NPCs, and community leaders. We'll have the ability to essentially give updates in a way where everyone at the event will be able to hear them all at the same time, and we can do a lot more with that. So and again, not to shit on the app, but another
And that,
limiting factor was that I was the only one who could control it from my phone. Like, I was the only admin. I couldn't share access with anyone else. So if you wanted to do something, if one of our staff members wanted to do something, they'd have to tell me, and then I would have to do it. And if I was in an area that had poor cell service, I'd have to go to an area with good cell service, push the update on the app, and then people would see it. So we're gonna have a much better method for disseminating that kind of that story, that game information going forward at future events that will be able to be used at all locations regardless of cell service.
no, no, totally. I mean, we even if it's a minor part, it's hard to plan and implement something if you don't know it's going to work because of things out of your control. And as much as again we wanted to implement that as part of a 40 years from the now future technology that people can use and access, it just became more of a distraction of the time and effort that we could actually put into making the events even better. So as always, we tend to try to adapt and overcome, in which we did. Now we just have a much more better way of disseminating information, more in a traditional way, to key components of our staff member, being in form of community leaders as well as NPCs. But again, also as a friendly reminder to participants that you probably want to stay active. You don't necessarily want to be a total lone wolf. You're going to be left out of the loop. And you also probably want to always think actions and what repercussions will come of those actions, because you don't want to be that person in a community where everybody despises you and they're just going to leave you to hang or not include you. And you also don't want to, go out there and upset too many other people to where, you're just always on the land because you can't do anything because people just are putting bounties on you. And, so, but again, that's how you want to play. That's absolutely fine. How our events go. But for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and they may not always be as beneficial to you as you initially think. But again, Alex did a lot of work on that app. It actually, I mean, again, another thing that just really sucks for us to not be able to truly and fully implement how we want. It's not to say that we may not revisit that at a later date, but the end result was it was way too much time and effort, and it did not necessarily make the events any better than what we could already have done and what we were going to continue to do. Um,
Yeah.
so, for
So
everyone to keep that,
we gave it
you
the
know,
old college try. We tried it out. It didn't work as well as we liked it. So we're moving on.
yeah,
It's
and
life.
other people use the apps. The Desert Fox app works great for what they're doing, but they're also definitely picking venues that have, hopefully, better cell service. And yeah, we just, again, we tried something, it didn't work. We just found out something else that works, easily as good, if not better. And we're moving forth in that direction. So the long story short is the app is no longer required, and we actually don't even have the app anymore. So goodbye, app. Maybe another day.
It was fun while it lasted. Nah, not really. It was kind of a pain in the ass.
Uh,
So a couple of questions we got. Someone asked how looting and trading is going to go. Obviously, for come August, and there's still separation restrictions, which is very possible. I
yeah.
mean, there's never been hands-on looting. It was only for bounty targets where you could get hands-on, search them, and take stuff off of them that you would turn in for your bounty. So obviously, if we have those physical restrictions in place, we just won't do that. Any other time you looted someone, you still there was never any interaction. People would take all the things that they had on them, drop them on the ground. The other person have to pick them up.
It was always a verbal tasking. As much as again we want to ratchet up the immersion, there's people out there who don't want to be touched for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason. Don't use loot bags or anything like that. This is always has been and will continue to be a, hey, you know what? I'm searching you. It is a verbal thing, and that person being searched has to give up everything that Survive Omega provide. If you found it, it's marked by our logo, ammo included, even ammo in your magazine. It's ours that we provide. You have to give it all up. It is up to the person who is searching you to see if they want to take it or not. But the person who is being searched always has, that's always been verbal. I was actually getting a couple questions like that too. Maybe we're getting the same questions from the same people. I guess the long story short is that whatever restrictions or mandates that are still in place that still allow us to run our events, we will have to incorporate those mandates and restrictions into our event. Example, if Desolation 3 was still allowed to continue at that date, everybody in the campsites or the communities would be bigger in volume of space. Everybody would have to be camping at least 6 feet apart from each other. Not only would we require a respirator apparatus or something that would physically resemble a respirator apparatus for our dust cloud in-game mechanic, you would probably also then have to have something constantly on your face, whether that be a medical mask, a shema, something wrapping around your face. So your face would have to be constantly covered when you're out in the general public space, which would be pretty much anywhere other than your tent or your car. Soap and hand sanitizer would then become mandatory items. We would expect people to be washing and sanitizing their hands vigorously. And really, all of that's about it. Other than just to expand upon what Alex is talking about, the only people who were ever hands-on lootable would have been our NPC, specifically our bounty NPCs, and we just would disallow that. So there would just be no touching. I think by and large, airsoft as well as even our events, isn't really about being that close to people. We do allow, through per our rule set, specific types of melee weapons, but even that, for the most part, is still going to be a distance thing. Again, folks, and we understand there's a lot of people out there who are scared. We understand there's a lot of restrictions out there, and our primary goal is to always offer a safe experience and then the best experience that we can for our customers. But safety's first. I mean, we do a lot of things that you're not going to find at a traditional event. Open fires, tool usage, and all that comes with a great risk and a great responsibility. So we have to make sure that people are being safe. That's why our most key staff members are always our community leaders, because these are the people that are our eyes and ears on our direct supervision of our participants to make sure that they're not in need, to make sure that everything is going well, and to make sure that everything is safe to our standards and any other standards that are placed upon us from outside sources, especially during the corona pandemic. So again, we're and as always, you have the right to take extra precautions for yourself to make sure that you're enjoying yourself in any situation. And if you wanted to go to some place and not be around people, then just be more on the periphery. But also respect people, and if you want people to respect you and your desires, you have to respect others, because you may be comfortable with being hands-on and in people's faces, and this may or may not be as big a thing. A lot of other people don't believe that. So again, always be mindful and respectful of everybody else, whether in our events or in life. But honestly, I think Alex and I have enough safeguards implemented that our events can run with the bare minimal of risk and exposure to the COVID-19 or any other issues out there. But you gotta wash your hands, man. People who do through hikes, which is like hiking the entire Appalachian Trail. It's almost like it's almost like a acid that you're gonna get sick. And a lot of times people think it's from tainted drinking water or their filter's bad. It's because people don't wash their freaking hands. I mean, you're wiping your ass with this hand and then you're eating later. You're going to get sick. get E. coli. So even if there wasn't a pandemic, you should be washing your hands and doing your due diligence to live a sanitary lifestyle in the woods or, on a day to day life, and, my guy just went on a 3 day backpacking trip a month and a half ago. I brush my teeth every day, sanitize my hands, wash my hands. You got to maintain, a healthy physical presence, just because it's only going to affect you at the end of the day. But yeah, personally, I think me and Alex had some liberal discussions on safeguarding our participants, and I was totally prepared to go forward with our event in June, not August. But I again, knock on some serious wood that a lot of the major issues that we're going through, all of us, not just the event, will subsided by then, and we can just like go about our lives and live even if it's a new normal, let's just get back to a normal. But yeah, man, I really wish I would have bought stock and respirator masks when we started this company, Alex. That is for sure.
Yeah, 3M would be a good stock to buy. Would have been a good stock to buy. Probably still is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for real.
Awesome. So a couple other questions. These are pretty straightforward. People ask the dates. So all the dates are live on the website, and we push them out through Facebook and Instagram. But Desolation 3 is now August 21st through 23rd at Skirmish Paintball. Revenant 2 is September 25th through 27th at D-Day Adventure Park in Wyandotte, Oklahoma. So it's pretty straightforward. So that's really all I have. I guess one final comment I had. I guess I have a final comment and a question. So I'll do my comment, and then Frank, you can finish up, and then we can. You had a question at the end of our last live stream that we asked, and then we shared it in the group, and then a lot of people answered, and we had some really interesting answers. So I thought of a question this time, so I'll ask you, and then we can throw it in the group and see what people have to say. So I guess the comment I have is that we've been seeing people I think are starting to get a little bit stir crazy, and I think they're starting to get a little emotional, being bottled up inside, and we're seeing a lot of that stuff spill over online, Facebook, other YouTube, whatever. So I just want to remind everyone that comes to our events or thinking about coming to our events to try and be a positive advocate for airsoft and LARP and APO sim or survival sim or whatever you want to call what we have. I mean, we're obviously in a lot of Facebook groups, so we can see some of the things that go on and try to police some of the material. But we're not on Reddit. We're not really in any Discords. I know a lot of airsoft stuff happens in there. So, always try to be a positive advocate for what we do. Don't shit on anyone else because they're asking basic questions or don't know what it is that we do. One of the interesting things that I've always thought about airsoft was that we're just a bunch of nerds playing toy guns. And honestly, it's not a zero-sum game. The more airsofters that play, the better. Just more people to shoot at, more people spending money at stores, more people coming to events like ours. The more money that we make, the more events we can do, the better events that we can do. So with that in mind, people still will actively discourage new people from coming into the hobby. I don't know why. I guess it makes them feel like more powerful over someone else that has less knowledge. But don't be that person. Don't be a dick. Be someone that other people look up to. And I think a lot of the people that come out to our events are definitely those people. Just want to keep people aware of that.
Look, and I made a post about this the other day in our group, general interest group. People who play airsoft come from all walks of life. It's actually probably one of the most diverse settings of people, other than probably like a Comic-Con. People from all different backgrounds, ethnicities, sexual orientations, and there's room for that, and people don't always have to get along. People don't always have to agree, but there's a time and a place, right? And in our event, our group, what we're putting forth there, I'm not going to be all lame and say it's a safe zone or anything like that, but we don't have any tolerance for that because we don't care. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you going to bed with. It doesn't matter. We're here to be dorks, LARP a situation and play with toy guns, that we shouldn't be able to do this, and our situational life allows us to be able to do this, and we should be thankful for that. We should be encouraging and bring more people into the fold. It's not being better than somebody else. It's not about pushing your opinion or views on it. It's about incorporating your opinions and views with everybody else's to make a better situation. But yeah, honestly, Survival Omega, our events, our group pages, our Instagram page, YouTube, anything that we are involved in, dude, check that stuff at the door. There's just no time and place for it. We want to breed and grow a positive experience for not only our participants, for ourselves as well. I've been doing airsoft for way too long. I did paintball before that, and it gets hard at times. It's just grinding and doing it over and over and over and over again. And a lot of times the negativity in the hobby by large has been a big thing personally that is kind of like makes me not want to be participating in doing it, or at least to the extent that I used to do it. I mean, gosh, I was gone out of town once a month for years going to airsoft events, and I was privileged and very lucky to be able to do so. But we just, like any hobby, we all grow to a point where you start to think of yourself more than what you really are, and you start to think of yourself where you're allowed to put your opinion upon others and not be equally respectful back. So again, just be mindful of your conduct, and when you're involved in our association, whether you're a participant, whether you're a future or past participant, or you're just generally interested, or if you're a staff member, because Alex and I have zero tolerance for that. We have enough things in our day-to-day life, such as working and paying bills and making our wives happy and making sure the cats and dogs are fed, that we just don't got time for this. We do this sadistically out of enjoyment, that we get to do something that no one else is doing, and we're hopefully doing it well enough to get people to keep coming out and doing it. And we just don't have time for that type of self-induced drama. So avoid it, stay away from it, leave your baggage at the door. If you catch wind of it, get a hold of Alex or I. We'll get it addressed. But there's a time and place, folks, and our events are for our events. Leave that outside life you at home. Become the person or character you want to be, and the storyline that Survive Omega puts forth.
All right. So I guess
Yeah.
we can do the question now, and then we'll post it in the group. So if you're not a member of the group,
Well, all right. Well, are we finishing up then? Is
yeah,
our
this is
finisher?
the last. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
Again, just as always, just to piggyback on what I was saying, I go and what Alex was just saying. These are trying times for everybody, from us as just human beings and individuals dealing with our day-to-day life, to people who want to go out and do an activity they can't do it because it's not happening, to people such as us who want to put forth activities for people to do and they can't do it. So it's just very stressful for everybody all around there, and remember that not everybody has as easy as you think. Not everybody may understand or see things from your perspective. So, in this day of social distancing, where I'm seeing people becoming ruder and more distant and not caring, now is the time for us as people, airsoft aside, for us to do better, because we can be better. So just because we have mandates and restrictions placed upon us doesn't mean that we have to be shittier fucking people. So just remember that, be respectful of others, whether you agree with them or not. And if you don't agree with them, you don't have to get a confrontation. Don't let them affect you. Just carry on with your life. And, that being said, we were superly excited about these two events, and we're just going to have to keep on holding off our excitement until our postponed dates. But honestly, that just gives us more time, and it gives you people as participants more time to be prepared. and be ready. So take usage of our media, Instagram, Facebook, post up questions, post up ideas, concerns, post up your ideas, especially if you've been a previous participant and things that worked for you didn't work. And let's get active as a community. Because again, a lot of what we do here as an event are things that you can take forward and do. Uh, so that being said, Alex and I always do appreciate everybody in our community, from our participants to our staff members, and we get enough. So, all right, Alex, let's see what you
All
got for
right.
a
So
question.
last week you asked, what's the one item that's not required? So like not a safety related item. What item, did you wish you had better of? Right. So that was a good one. So mine's kind of similar, I guess. I guess it's for people that have come to an event as well as people who have not yet come to an event. So the question is, you know, what if you attend an event? What was the thing that you were afraid of most or concerned about the most before attending an event? And if you have never attended an event, what is the thing that concerns you the most about attending an Omega event? So I guess my answer is very related to your question last week, because my biggest concern before doing this, and still a concern because I haven't really addressed it yet, is being warm and dry at night. We joke about this all the time. We've never really been either at any of our events, because we keep thinking it's going to be like 60 degrees at night, and it's always like 45 or lower. So I guess my biggest thing that I was concerned about was being warm and dry at night. And despite being worried about that, I still seem to fail at that for most of the events. I think the only event I was warm at was Desolation 2, which, I mean, the nighttime temp was like 55, and I had a bunch of blankets. But every other event, I've froze my ass off and been miserable.
No, honestly, I think you and I are both like literally so frostburned by this that it's gonna be a reoccurring theme for the next 10 years. Um, that's actually a difficult question, I think, for at least for me to answer, because again, of the different perspective that I have, as somebody who's running the event and going into it. What was I fearful of? And honestly, it's I guess it's kind of a cop out and lame, but I guess my most fearful thing of every event is like, is everybody going to have I don't want to say the word positive experience, but will everybody be able to take something from our events home with them to make them think differently? I want to be all weirded out and say like, well, our events change people and who they are and how they act and behave in life. But I do wonder that, so that's always the, I guess metaphysically, my fearful, just as somebody who's providing a service, is that are people satisfied with the service? Um, Not metaphysically and more of physically, what would concerns me going into an event, and especially if I could do myself as a participant and having been involved with when other events, especially airsoft events, would be hydration. Is especially an event where the water is provided as a scavengeable source. And as Alex knows very well, especially being involved in American Milsim Command with me and doing airsoft and paintball for ever and a half, hydration is so, so, so important. It's so much to the point where Alex and I will even get into disagreements about how much pop we should buy for scavengeable resources. But I don't think there's a single event other than the first one where we go home with soda.
Yeah.
I mean, you people are junkies. I literally don't drink soda at home, and I'm going to stockpile it because if the world does end, I'm going to trade that for ammunition.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
remember the first event, you bought so much soda. I was like, why did you buy so much fucking soda? Like, no one's going to drink that. It was all gone by like the end of the first day.
dude, like even like Desolation 2, like we were waiting at Walmart for them to unpack pallets of pop because that Walmart was out of pop, and Alex is like, dude, just let it go. I'm like, I'm telling you, people will kill each other for a freaking Mountain Dew. and it's proven time and time again. But as somebody who drinks a lot of water, who does a lot of activities, water is important to me. So my concern would always be is like, is there going to be, enough water? And I can definitely equivalently say, as somebody who helps run the events and put them on, um, I will guarantee you that you're not going to run out of water, because even if you have to break the immersion of the game, if you're ever think that you're in need, if you're feeling really thirsty, seek out a staff member and we will take care of you. Our goal is to challenge you, not to kill you, not to make you have such a bad time you never want to come back again. We want you to come back again because you know what? That might have sucked, but man, it was really cool at the end and worthwhile. I mean, that is our goal. So yeah, that's a great question. What do people fear or question about going into our events?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that kind of summary?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to necessarily be like a physical thing. It could be like a social thing.
Yeah,
Like maybe, you're
yeah.
the only person that would come. You don't know anyone else going, so you're worried that you won't have anyone to talk with or be friends with. It's a valid concern, but I definitely think a concern of our events. Everyone's very friendly, and we have had several people come by themselves.
Oh, yeah.
People
And
that might be afraid they've never played airsoft before and think that everyone else is just going to roll over them with their guns. Again, really not too much of an issue
yeah,
at our events, but any concern that someone has that they had going into an event or still has because they haven't attended an event yet.
and just a tangent off that last bit real quick before we wrap things up, because we're trying to shorten our videos and we already kind of doubled our time. But yeah, I mean, we Alex and I have brought this up in like different live videos and before that. It's always amazing the comfort zones that people will step out of to come and attend our event, and it's very humbling to us. People that never camped before come out and try it because they want to do this event, so they'll camp. We have a friend, Brian, who Perdition was his first event. He drove down by himself, bought an airsoft pistol, never played airsoft before ever, and happened to win an N7, one of our title sponsors. Redline is one of our title sponsors. So he won an HP engine system. Now has built a rifle, planned to travel to all these events. I mean, you can't get any more humbled by that. But yeah, don't be afraid. And if you have questions or concerns, whether it's answering the specific question in our 5 Omega user group, which Alex I'm soon will post, or just in general, again, post up. We try to be active. We try to address his questions as fast as we possibly can, because again, we do this out of some sort of sadistic enjoyment of spending all year long planning, spending all weekend long not sleeping, not eating, freezing at night. If Alex and I haven't said that enough times, to be able to do these events. And why? Because we want to actually do them. Alex and I can go meet up for drinks bi-monthly, but that's not what we want to do. We want to do this, and we appreciate you all for having interest, for coming out and participating. Because at the end of the day, it'd just be me and Alex at my old airsoft field, freezing at night, shooting each other with BBs. So we definitely thank you, folks. That being said, I'm good to wrap up. I really don't have anything. We can, at least nothing that we can't save to excuse me, the next live video. So, thanks, Alex, for everything you do. Thank you to all the staff members for everything you do. Thank you to all the participants and people interested in our events. And we hope to see you sooner than later. And Desolation 3, August 21st to 23rd. Revenant 2 out in Wyandotte, Oklahoma. That's September 25th, 27th. Be there. If I haven't seen you, you're friends of mine and you live in those areas, use those venues, come out. Let's get together. Let's have a great event and have a good time. Thank you,
Yep.
guys.
Thank you guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.